extra example number 3, St. John's wort and depression. An article in the Journal of the American Medical Association reports the results of a study designed to see if the herb St. John's wort is effective in treating moderately severe cases of depression. Looks like we're also looking at Zoloft. The study involved 338 subjects, there's the total, who were being treated for major depression. The subjects were randomly assigned to receive one of the 3 treatments. So those are our 3 populations. The treatments are considered populations. St. John's wort, Zoloft, or a placebo for 8 weeks. Here's the table. And some had a full response, partial response, or no response. So the categorical, the one categorical variable is here. Each person fits into either full response, partial, or none, and that's one categorical variable. And here are your multiple treatments or populations there. So we're going to do a chi-square test for homogeneity to see if there's a difference in the treatment, if these differences are significant. So we need to first calculate the expected counts for the 3 treatments, assuming that all treatments are equally effective, because that's what we're comparing to. So we kind of have to redistribute these numbers for what they would be if every treatment was equally effective. So we'll show all the work for full response, and then we'll go a little bit faster once you know sort of how to use the formula for it. So I'll leave the problem there, try to. So just looking at full responses, how would we find the expected counts? So just for full response, there's 91 total. 91 total had a full response, regardless of the treatment, out of 338, and that's the total down here. So basically, we want 26.9%. And if an equal number of people had each treatment, then all the numbers would end up being the same, but it's not. There's a different number taking each treatment. So we want to find 26.9% of each treatment. So you would take the total for St. John's wort of 113, and you would find 26.9%. So that's 30.4. And then we would do Zoloft 109 total, and we want 26.9% of that. 0.269, 29.3, and then we want, there's 116 that did the placebo times 0.269, and that gives us 31.2. So those are our expected counts if each treatment had the same effect. And they're not the same numbers because there's a different number of people that took each treatment. So without doing every single one, the shortcut though, you would get the same answer if you just multiply, for example, for St. John's wort, if you just multiply 91 times 113 and then divided by 338, you're actually doing the same math there. So for the expected count, instead of doing this whole process, you could just do 91 times 113 divided by 338, and you should get 30.4 by doing this shortcut. So instead of going through and doing that for every cell now, we'll just assume you're going to practice that in the examples in the homework. So we're on part B now. So that was part A. You would do that for every cell. And then for part B, chi-squared, calculate the chi-squared statistics. So all you have to show on my test and the AP test is the first 2. So you would do, to find chi-squared, the formula is the same as before, 27 minus 30.4 squared over 30.4. So it's observed minus expected squared over expected, plus, and then you're going to show one more, 27 again, now we're on Zoloft, 27 minus 29.3 squared over 29.3. And then you're going to say plus ... because we're not going to do that 9 times and show it. So that equals 8.72. You go through and do that for every cell. And then, so that was part B. So we computed the chi-squared statistic. And then part C, which maybe we should start with, is defining H0 and the alternative hypothesis. So H0, there's no difference in the distribution of responses for the patients, and alternative, there is a difference in responses. So calculate and interpret the p-value and draw a conclusion. Calculate and interpret the p-value and draw a conclusion. So part C then is we need our degrees of freedom. So you would say degrees of freedom is there's 3 rows and 3 columns. So 4 degrees of freedom using the formula from your notes. The p-value on the best way, the most accurate, is on your calculator. Do chi-squared CDF. And you don't need to worry about things being negative with this, which makes it much easier to work with. So from 8.72, which we calculated earlier, our chi-squared test statistic, to infinity, or some big number. And then we put our degrees of freedom here, 4. And if you do that on your calculator, you should get 0.0685 there. So that is greater than 5%. So we failed to reject H0. So since p-value is greater than our default alpha 0.05, we fail to reject H0. So we do not have convincing evidence that there's a difference. Just barely, but we do not have convincing evidence. Convincing evidence. There is a difference. There is a difference in the distribution of responses. In distribution of responses for patients when taking St. John's, Zoloft, or placebo.